get caught snoozing, miss one deduction, lose thousands, not amusing.
Big tax changes can mean bigger refunds at Jackson Hewitt. And right now, get $100 just to try us.
Don't worry, tax filers. If money is tight, get $100 from Jackson Hewitt, so you'll sleep better at night.
Limited time offer for new clients. Participating locations only. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
One iced coffee?
$1, please.
For real? No way. One iced coffee?
$1, please.
For real? No way. What a deal.
Your new morning groove. Iced coffee from McDonald's, any size for just $1 until 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Are you worrying about those upcoming credit card bills after the holidays? If you're a homeowner, there's no better time than now to call American Financing and wipe out that debt, eliminate the stress, and set yourself up for a strong 2026. The Fed dropped rates for the 4th time in December. American Financing can help you access that equity in your home at an interest rate in the low 5s. You heard that right, in the low 5s. That is a much lower rate than the average 20% or more credit card rate. American Financing is saving their customers an average of $800 a month. That's like a $10,000 raise to start the new year. There are no upfront fees and no obligation to see how much you can save. And they are closing some in as fast as 10 days and even delaying 2 mortgage payments. American Financing, Colorado's home for home loans. Call them today at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000 or online at AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. APR for rates in the 5 start at 6.196% for well-qualified buyers. Call 303-695-7000 for details about credit costs and terms.
The 2025 sell-off event is happening now at Beaux-Arts Chevrolet in Park Meadows and Celebration Chevrolet in Aurora. All 2025 Chevrolet models and select 2026s are priced to move. When you buy, you're choosing a name you can trust for all your automotive needs. Mention the Fan and get 10% off any service with tire rotation always included with any basic service. Happening now at Beaux-Arts Chevrolet and Celebration Chevrolet. All financing is based on approved credit. Incentives vary by model and availability. Select 2025 and 2026 models only. Service offer valid at Beaux-Arts Chevrolet and Celebration Chevrolet with National Station. See dealer for complete details.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877 Cars for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877 Cars for Kids.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Instead of staring at brake lights, let Mustang handle the traffic. With Wi-Fi on board, Mustang takes the hassle out of all your Colorado travel. Find your route today at ridemustang.com.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
On it is Denver Sports Tonight on this Wednesday night in the Mile High City. He's Dante Gomez. I'm Will Peterson. We will roll with you for the next hour on a fascinating day in Broncos country. On Monday, we got to hear from a lot of the players on Locker Room Cleanout Day. On Tuesday, we get to hear from head coach Sean Payton and GM George Payton. And today, we get to hear from Broncos CEO and owner Greg Penner and quarterback Bo Nix. Listen, I appreciate these guys all being available, taking time. Certainly makes our lives easier, and it helps, honestly, communicate with the fans. These are the folks that people want to hear from after you lose an AFC title game, and the Broncos have done a great job checking all those boxes. Now, with that said, Dante, I don't think anyone expected what happened about 3:15 this afternoon to go down, and that, of course, was Sean Payton yesterday saying that Bo Nix was predisposed, that this ankle was going to break, a matter of when, not if, and Bo Nix sort of clapping back and saying, come on now, he shouldn't be talking about how many surgeries I had. I'm not predisposed. It was just bad luck. It's January 28th. They don't play a meaningful football game until September. They're going to get through this. They're going to be fine. But a little interesting that there's some trouble in paradise for a team that just made the NFL's version of the Final Four.
Well, you mentioned that no one expected this. I think one person expected it. I think Bo Nix did. I think he had something to get off his chest, and that's why he answered that question the way he did. That's why he had a press conference today. I think that was a little out of the sorts, or at least not expected going into the day. So I think Bo Nix had something on his mind that he had to get off, and good for Bo Nix. I think it's very funny that I believe it was last year, Sean Payton was talking about Zach Wilson. My job is to make you a lot of money. And what Sean Payton did to Bo Nix last week and this week could cost Bo Nix some money. And I think that's why Bo Nix was so irritated about it. That's why I would be irritated about it. If I'm Bo Nix or I'm Bo Nix's agent, I can't have people out here saying, oh, he actually broke his ankle twice before this. His ankle, it was bound to happen at some point. It wasn't a freak play. It was more when, not if, as you just said too. So I think Bo Nix was fully in the right to go after Sean Payton. I think this is kind of a one-sided drama, if anything. I would be surprised if Sean Payton hasn't already called Bo Nix to apologize.
Interesting. Yeah, and we know Sean is very active on social media. Will he send a tweet? Will he not? Sort of clarifying things. Let's see. But people are always tuning in to the station, and I know Zach and Richie did a really good job of laying this out and playing the audio, but I know there's people that just got in their car, just getting off work, whatever. So here's what Bo Nix said today, clapping back at Sean Payton about him being predisposed to ankle injuries.
Nothing predisposed, nothing that was there originally. I might have gotten confused, but it's just a simple step with my foot up in the air. My body weight came down on it and sort of got twisted up and got out of there pretty quick. I think that's the good part of being athletic. Sometimes your body gets out of worse situations. So could have been a worse landing, but I think all that force went into the only place it could, and was just one of those missteps. And didn't have any predisposed issues. Man, my ankles were feeling really good. I don't think he really should share how many surgeries I've had in the past, to be honest with you. But
I mean, I'm going to play the rest of the answer, but think about that. He just said, I don't think my head coach should be sharing how many surgeries I've had in the past. Again, I'm not trying to make a mountain out of a molehill, but there's something to this, man. There is a real disconnect going on between your superstar head coach, who all he does is win, and your superstar quarterback, who in his first 2 years in the NFL, basically all he's done is won. Again, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. No one's going to remember this in a few weeks. But as we sit here today, this is pretty interesting.
Yeah, interesting, but I'm on Bo Nix's side. Sean Payton shouldn't be spouting out about the amount of surgeries that Bo Nix has had. Like I said, Bo Nix is in line here to get a massive, massive contract at the end of next year, at the end of the following season, and I mean, Phil has talked about it in the past. Teams bring up everything, right? Anything possible. It's like, oh, well, you can't catch the ball out of the backfield. Oh, well, you had that, whatever injury. Whatever it is going to be, they're going to bring that up in negotiations, and as to why maybe you shouldn't get paid what you think you're worth. So I think Sean put his foot in his mouth. I don't think it was bad intentions on his part. I think he was trying to crack a joke, and again, I would be surprised if Sean hasn't already apologized to Bo for accidentally maybe accusing Bo of being injury prone.
And what do you make of Bo doing this and doing it very publicly, right? We woke up this morning and there was an email from the Broncos that Greg Penner was going to be available. And that's great. Again, all the credit to the Broncos for putting these people in front of microphones. But then to get an email at 1 o'clock this afternoon, hey, here's Bo, he's going to be on Zoom at 3. I think that Zach and Richie were onto something, that Bo himself probably reached out to Broncos PR and said, I want to talk to the media. And do you think he did that because he watched yesterday and was annoyed with what the head coach said? My gut is absolutely yes.
Yes, no, absolutely. And I liked what Richie had to say earlier today on the drive, saying this is Bo looking Sean Payton directly in the eyes and saying, hey, we're equals here. You don't get to railroad me. You don't get to control the narrative on this. I get to stand up for myself, and I'm going to stand up to you if I have to. And we've seen it on the sidelines throughout the year of this year and last year, at least, of Bo getting after Sean Payton at moments. And to me, this was kind of a coming out party of, hey, I'm not going to be beneath you anymore. If you say something I don't agree with, I'm going to let the media know. I'm going to let the people know how I truly feel about it.
Yeah, and obviously, if you're the Broncos, this is not the kind of headlines you wanted. We joked about what a disaster the Bills were with Terry Pagula interrupting the GM's answer of why the season went wrong, and he goes, "A bad call." You know, he was clearly upset. And when George and Sean met with the media yesterday, we said, well, they're not going to really create any of those headlines because they're functional and they're stable, and they certainly are those things. But I think with Sean, man, I love it as a media member because it's great for us and it creates a lot of content. And I think Broncos country loves it too because, we remember John Fox going to the podium and never saying anything of substance and always just being boring and not a lot to talk about, not a lot to write about. Sean is the exact opposite. The problem is there's now a little bit of friction between head coach and QB, and friction is not a word that people want to hear when the coach isn't going anywhere, obviously, and the quarterback's not going anywhere, obviously. They're going to have to mend this fence, and they will. Again, they will. I have full confidence in that, but I don't think that people expected that this week losing the AFC title game wouldn't hurt the most. I think now what hurts the most is a little bit of a public feud between, let's be honest, two of the, 5 most important guys in that entire organization. I mean, obviously Greg Penner's in the top 5, but head coach QB, I mean, this isn't the special teams coordinator and the punter exchanging words. This is the guy who's in charge of everything in Sean Payton and the guy who they obviously very sorely missed in the AFC title game and proved he was a franchise QB in his absence in Bo Nix. This is pretty juicy when it comes to tension when you reach the level of star QB and future Hall of Fame head coach.
I agree that it's juicy. I'm going to disagree a little bit on the fact that this can outshine the fact that they lost the AFC Championship. To me, the biggest story in Broncos of the week is the fact that they lost the AFC Championship.
Yeah, but they lost it because Bo didn't play, right? Like, that's the reason they lost. I think we all agree if Bo Nix plays, they're going to the Super Bowl. So it does feel like salt in the wound a little bit, right? That not only could he not play because he broke his ankle, but there's now controversy around this broken ankle.
Yes and no. I'm going to disagree with you as well on the fact that the Broncos are a sure thing to go to the Super Bowl. I think they would have been a 1.5 point favorite in that game.
They gave up 10 points, and Jarrett Stidham gifted New England 7 of the 10.
I think if Bo Nix plays, the Patriots are scoring more than 10 points. I think the whole game.
I think the defense
that's
had
a
its
different
best game
conversation.
in months.
Yeah, but I think part of the reason they stepped up was because they knew they had a backup quarterback in Jarrett Stidham. So I think the whole game plan changes for the Patriots, but that's not really what this is about. I just still think that is the bigger story. I think this will blow over. I think Sean Payton and Bo Nix have shown that they can both be adults. Honestly, Bo Nix more times than Sean Payton during their tenures here.
And he's what, 35 years younger?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think Bo Nix has shown that he can be the adult in the room, and I think Sean Payton knows he stepped in it a little bit here and maybe not misspoke, but probably shared some information that he shouldn't be sharing unnecessarily, and there was no reason he had to bring that up. So I think Sean knows he's in the wrong here, and I think this will be mended fairly quickly.
Yeah, and the quote that just stands out, and we just played it for you a few minutes ago, is I don't really think he should share how many surgeries I've had in the past, to be honest with you. I mean, that's a very direct message from Bo Nix to Sean Payton. The old keep my name out of your mouth. That's kind of what it felt like, right?
And how ironic is it that Sean Payton never wants to discuss injuries? You've been at his press conferences. What's the first thing he says pretty much every single time?
Not discussing injuries.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, he decides to talk about Bo Nix's past injuries. I think that's fairly ironic, and maybe a lesson can be learned here from Sean about, like, I need to. You remember when he wrote "Run It" on the play sheet?
Correct.
He needs to follow that with don't talk about injuries as well.
Little more from Bo Nix today. Here he is, and he's normally pretty vanilla. He was not vanilla today. He was super raw and honest, and I appreciated it, and I know our listeners and Broncos fans do as well. This was him on the emotions of the Buffalo game, followed by that devastating injury news an hour afterward.
Well, man, it was a bummer. It was a little bit unknown at the end of the game, so I was just going about business as usual. Was very, very just, I think a little bit, not in shock, but just very happy and very thrilled at how we finished that game, just how the game ended, how it went down with J-Mac's interception, with our last drive there just to put the game away, with Will's last kick. You don't get these opportunities. I mean, that was my first one. You don't get them often, and we're trying to make that a theme around here. But man, that's our first one in a while. So it was really awesome to not only be in that situation, really awesome to see our fans, see our organization, see the atmosphere, just see overall how the game went, just pick up our first playoff game. I think that was the most exciting. And then, yeah, got into the locker room, celebrated a little bit, and then, got checked out, and then unfortunately found the news. And then it was just a bummer. It's crushing. It's defeating for, you go that long and you play that many games, and you have that big of a season, and it just kind of comes to an end abruptly like that. It stinks, but was just very fortunate to have the team that I have and have the support staff that I have. Man, everything was very smooth. Got great doctors, great trainers, coaching staff, teammates. Man, it was just it really just showed how blessed I was to be in such a great spot, and to be here, even though it wasn't necessarily great news. It was had a lot of guys lifting me up.
I mean, a lot to unpack from that answer, but I think my biggest takeaway, Bo didn't go to the x-ray room knowing he had broken his ankle, right? He even said in there, and I'm paraphrasing now, the highs of the win and then the shock of the medical news. I think Bo Nix knew his ankle hurt. I think he knew something was wrong. I don't think when he did that interview with Tracy Wolfson, people have dissected it over and over again, and Tracy herself has even said, maybe I should have asked him about it. Tracy's a great reporter. She did a great job. There was no reason to ask Bo about it because it wasn't really on anyone's radar. And I think that answer he kind of confirmed, Dante, of like, yeah, I'm a football player. My ankle hurts. I got to go get an x-ray. I don't think he was expecting to hear that it was broken and he needed immediate surgery and he was going to be out a couple months. Bo did clarify today. He thinks it'll be more like 4 to 6 weeks. That's different from what the Broncos told us yesterday, which was May. So I think that's what hurts the most for me. He was celebrating the win. He didn't know deep down his season was over until the x-rays revealed what they did.
I can't speak to him knowing if his season was over, but he knew something was wrong. Because you listen to, or unless these two guys are on the wrong page again in a scenario, but you listen to Sean Payton describe the event of Bo coming over to him being like, hey, something's wrong. And Sean was, celebrating. They just won the AFC divisional game at home in overtime. What a thrilling moment. He gives, Bo Nix a big chest bump there. So Bo knew something was wrong, maybe not to that extent, but that's just heartbreaking to hear that you go through the whole season and you expect that you're going to be out there leading your team in the AFC Championship and not be able to go out there and do that. I'm sure I can't even tell you what that feels like. I have nothing comparable in my life. I've gone through some major injuries, but not nearly with the kind of stakes and eyeballs on Bo Nix the way it was this time around.
Yeah, and he could have hoisted Lombardi. I think that's the biggest frustrating thing is that there wasn't some sort of juggernaut in the way this year. Seattle's a great football team, but I think if the Broncos had Bo Nix, they'd probably be 2.5, 3-point underdogs in the Super Bowl. And 2.5, 3 points, that's not a ton in the NFL. I wonder, too, if you're Bo and you get the news that the ankle's broken and Sean has the second presser and all that, I thought his statement on social media was really good. God doesn't make mistakes. He's relying heavily on his faith. But I do think, even if you're the most positive dude in the world, and even if you have the utmost faith in the world, I do think you got to take a step back and go, why me? And I don't think he's going to feel sorry for himself. I don't think that's his nature. But I also realize that Bo is a human being, and I think Bo's got to be going, really? I mean, there was no Mahomes. There was no Burrow. There was no Lamar. There's no team in the NFC. I mean, it's Sam Darnold, for goodness sake. Good player. Very good player. But he's on his fourth team in 4 years for a reason. Like, there was no massive hurdle the Broncos had to clear other than Bo breaking his ankle, and we could literally be at a parade 2 weeks from today if that doesn't happen.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so difficult. And Bo Nix referenced that these opportunities don't come around a lot of times. And this was one of the few where you're a year 2 quarterback and your favorites in the AFC Championship, you're playing at home in the AFC Championship to go to the Super Bowl. So missed opportunity, I think, on his end. And you mentioned that he is a very faith-based guy that's going to be looking at this on the positive end, there still has to be moments of doubt, of why me, of all of that. But to me, it's about him responding, and I have no doubt he'll be able to respond the way he needs to, and just powering through those dark moments and those dark thoughts that everybody's going to have in that scenario.
Yeah, a little more from Bo Nix today. How about that procedure itself and what his recovery will look like?
Yeah, it was a very quick procedure, very easy operation, just a simple bone break. Got that fixed up. Great surgeon, great care, and just right back on my road to recovery. So a typical, bone break, 4 to 6 weeks. I'll be back training, ready to roll, and a lot of different. You hear a lot of different weeks and speculation out there when something like this happens, and unfortunately, you don't get to hear from me for a while, but. It'll be absolutely no issue this off season. I'll be able to actually start training back at the same time I was going to start training. So don't miss any time there. Going to have a good couple weeks getting literally my feet back underneath me and getting back ready to roll. I'm excited for this off season. I think the way it ended, it definitely was abrupt. It definitely not how you want it to end, but my sights are already on next year and how I can be better and how I can lead this team better and play better, and I'm excited for the offseason work and to get back and get back to the physical part of training and all that kind of stuff. That I enjoy that, but very easy operation. Just a unfortunate injury, just a clean break. There wasn't much to it, and then easy recovery too. So that's a good part of it. I've had several things in the past with, whether it was a back last year or whatever it may be, those things tend to heal pretty quick in the off season and, don't linger around at all.
Yeah, I mean, I love his optimism that this is a clean break, as he said, and surgery went well and he's going to be totally fine. And after listening to him, I think we'll see him at OTAs, certainly see him at mandatory minicamp. That usually comes around in the middle of June. And then, of course, training camp at the end of July. But it's hard for me, listening to Bo there, it's hard for me to sort of wrap my mind around that this season ended because he broke his ankle, right? Like, that still doesn't feel real. You beat the Bills. You won it in overtime. You had a dramatic, awesome victory against a franchise that is cursed and tortured, and their QB, people are wondering if he's ever going to win the big one. And then you hold the Patriots to 10 lousy points at home, and you're not going to the Super Bowl. I don't know, man. We don't have time machines. We can't change the past, but I feel like the Broncos got really jobbed this year. And listening to Bo Nix, he's not going to say that out loud because he knows he can't say that out loud. But I think if you had a latte or two with Bo Nix, he'd tell you the same thing. I got screwed. Our fans got screwed. And this franchise was robbed of a real legitimate shot at its fourth Lombardi trophy.
I think it's hard to think that way, for me at least, because there's injuries all over the NFL, and maybe that's how. Who's the great pass rusher that went down this year? I can't remember who it was. Oh, on the Packers. Maybe that's how Micah Parsons feels.
Yeah, he did that in Denver.
Exactly. Yeah. Bo Nix was on the other end of it, actually, on that play, funny enough. But that's not why I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it up because the Packers felt like they were the best team in football at some point. Micah Parsons goes down. So, to me, it's all a part of the game. I don't think that Denver or Bo Nix or the Broncos can play victim in this scenario, because then you're never going to bounce back and be who you're supposed to be going forward. I'm a little worried about Bo Nix's mentals, though, because he's about to go through a marathon, a slog here of usually after a season ends, these guys like to take a month and a half off, go to the beach, go on vacation, really get their mind off of football. But he's going to have to be rehabbing for that whole time. And then it turns into training for the season. Then it turns into OTAs. Then it turns into mandatory. Then it turns into training camp. So I think he has a full 12 months ahead of him here until the end of the next football season. So I just hope that he's able to get his mentals right going into this marathon he's about to. And then I have a question for you. Any concern on if the reported 3 broken ankles could come up again, or he had the back last year? He mentioned that in that quote as well, of having to get something cleaned up or go through some rehab process there as well. Any concerns for you going forward with Bo Nix and his physical health?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's a very valid question. And let's be honest. I mean, did we talk much about how Bo had 2 previous ankle surgeries the last 2 years?
At all.
It never came up. It wasn't known. And then Sean Payton sort of lets that cat out of the bag. Now, I'm sure if you Googled it, there was probably articles of when Bo was at Auburn or he was at Oregon or whatever, but it wasn't top of mind. And the problem is the head coach now made it top of mind. And yeah, is he injury prone? Bo went out of his way to deny that today. I'm not injury prone. This was a fluke thing and a freak accident. But now that it cost him an AFC title game, it cost him a potential trip to the Super Bowl, you better believe that any time next year he's walking a little funny after a sack, there are going to be people that are very nervous in Broncos country. It's like I remember when Peyton Manning played here, and he was obviously coming off the neck surgeries. Anytime Manning got sacked or hit hard, I wasn't worried where the football went. It could have been a pick six. I didn't care. I was worried about number 18 getting up, and that's how important he was. And I do feel like we will watch Broncos games next year going, please pan back to 10. Where's Bo? Is he up? Is he walking normal? And that's not real fun feeling, a real fun feeling as a fan to now have worries moving forward that your QB is indeed injury prone.
Well, no one thinks they're injury prone. J.K. Dobbins said he was injury prone earlier this year and then went on to have a season-ending injury. So I think it's fair for Bo Nix to have that take on his side. Obviously, he doesn't want to have the label that he's injury prone. But on top of that, I think the play calling could be affected a little bit. Maybe Sean's a little more hesitant to run Bo Nix on some of these plays because obviously the injury did happen on a running play in a game that he got 12 carries in, too, for Bo Nix. So I think it could impact the game plan going forward as well of just being a little more hesitant about running Bo in some of these games.
A little bit more from Bo Nix. What was it like watching the AFC title game from a suite? Obviously, he had to watch it like the rest of us did.
Well, it was terrible. It was, very helpless. There wasn't much I could do about it. And, just to watch the team out there, it's just, man, it's tough to see when you go down, the show just keeps right on going. So I think that's the toughest part is you feel like you got a little FOMO and you just miss being out there and you just take for granted, like the practices and the being around the guys and the meeting times and all the times that you can't really be up there with them. And obviously the game itself, that's probably the worst part because you want to be out there playing and not only because it was the AFC Championship game, but just because it's another game played by your team and you want to be a part of it. But it was a bummer. It was tough. It was a tough week. It was not necessarily the most most fun I've ever had playing football, but I do think life teaches you lessons, and this adversity is good. I think all adversity is good. All adversity sort of tests you and challenges you and puts you in a different spot. And I think, for me, it's just going to make playing in one of these games that much more special. And unfortunately, I can't go back and play in that one, but man, I can do something to change and, see how many I can play in the future. And to me, that's exciting. And that, drives me a little bit, and that allows me to compete this off season and train really hard and, be back for OTAs and, see the enjoyment that we're going to have. And, it reminds you not to take things for granted. It can change real quick. And, literally a snap of a play, it can change. And now you're looking at things from a different perspective, but, the team took care of me. I was able to watch it, be comfortable. And, it was just unfortunate. It was a tough set of circumstances that unfortunately we had to overcome. But, good thing is now, we're on the road. All of us are on the road back to get to OTAs, get to the season, and then, we can go forward again.
Really good perspective from Bo Nix there. I may not have been able to play in this one, but I'm looking forward to how many I can play in the future. I think that's the right mindset, and I think we all agree Bo Nix has AFC title games, I'll say plural, in his future. All that said, man, you don't know if the Chiefs get back to being the Chiefs, right? You don't know if Lamar gets traded or if Baltimore, maybe needed a change of scenery with the head coach. You don't know if Joe Burrow and the Bengals suddenly remember, oh, we are very talented. We should be a lot better than winning 7 games every year. I love it. But it just goes back to my original point of the AFC was really wide open this season, and you hosted an AFC title game against the New England Patriots, and you held them to 10 points, 7 of which your backup QB fumbled right to them. It's tough. And you could tell, again, Dante, I think Bo's trying to keep everything positive, and he is. But even there, that answer, and it was a 2-minute long answer, you could tell the raw emotion of how much it really crushed him to not be able to play in that football game.
Yeah, and I thought his comments about the show goes on without you, I thought those were very interesting. And I think everybody likes to feel important at work, or whether it's in a friend group, whatever it is. And then you're not there one time and you find out, if I'm not here, the drive still goes on.
Right.
And that goes for everybody. If Phil wasn't here today, the drive still went on from 2 to 6 today. So everybody likes to feel important, and it can feel a little lonely when you're not able to be out there and helping. And I think that can be also tough mentally on him, but it seems like he has a really good perspective and mentality about it, about moving forward. And you mentioned there about you don't know how many more AFC title games you're going to have. This is a great opportunity. No one thought the Broncos and Patriots were going to be meeting for the AFC title this year. So that just goes to show how, not random, but how maybe unexpected these matchups can be in later playoff games.
And that's why we all love the NFL, right? Because it does change all the time, right? And the old worst to first and all that stuff. All right, so Bo Nix clearly stole the show today with his press conference. Really interesting, and clapping back at Sean Payton. But what about Greg Penner? What did Greg Penner, the owner and CEO of the Broncos, say about Bo Nix? You will hear from him next.
After a heartbreaking loss in the AFC Championship game, how will the Broncos approach their pivotal offseason?
We have to be on our game. We have to make really good decisions. We're going to be aggressive. We have some cap room. We have 5 picks in the first 4 rounds. I always talk flexibility. We're going to have all sorts of flexibility.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hi, Dan Cicchini with Dunright. Great pricing options and bank financing? You bet. Kitchens, baths, counters and floors, finished basements, windows and doors. Done right since 1985. You have our word, we'll treat you right at Done Right. Visit drhi.com. Thanks.
So, you're ready to propose, huh? Yeah, man. She's definitely the one. What are we thinking about the ring? I got my wife's at Hellsberg. I couldn't recommend a better jeweler. I could use some help with that. Man, go to Hellsberg. I had no idea how many details you need to consider. Did you know you can get a natural or lab-grown diamond? I didn't. Figure out what she wants. Trust me, they'll make it happen.
Start your story with Hellsberg. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon. Hello? You won't believe where I am. Are you running? Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing. Mom, how do you feel? I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Hey, the cold weather is here. Stoke here from my friends at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Has another company told you that you need a new furnace? Time to throw in the challenge flag. Rocks Heating and Air offers no obligation, free second opinions. And don't forget about heat pump rebates. They've never been better. Up to $13,500 only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that cheap.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
At Berg Simpson, we are passionate about what we do. We bring that passion and our expertise to the office and courtroom every single day. We're always working hard and are committed to doing everything we can to give our clients the best opportunity to have a great result.
If you've been injured, call Berg Simpson for free now at 303-790-2525. 303-790-2525. BergSimpson.com. Good lawyers changing lives. It's not just a slogan, it's who we are.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Save more on the brands pros trust at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances and choose from our wide lineup of top brands. Plus, save $100 on a Little Giant 22-foot multi-position ladder. Now just $189. Built for strength, flexibility, and job site versatility. Pros, these savings will only be here for a limited time. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 1/30 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Taxes was feeling unwelcome. Now Taxes is an open door, literally, to new TurboTax stores. Meet our experts in person.
Hi, welcome in.
They're powered by smart tech and ready to do your taxes for you. Get real-time updates while you go about your day. Confident your taxes are done right. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. TurboTax stores opening soon. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app.
The 2025 sell-off event is happening now at Bozar Chevrolet in Park Meadows and Celebration Chevrolet in Aurora. Mention the Fan and get 10% off service with tire rotation included. Offer while inventory lasts. All financing is based on approved credit. Incentives vary by model and availability. Select 2025 and 2026 models only. Service offer valid at Bozar Chevrolet and Celebration Chevrolet with Metro Station. See dealer for complete details.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan.
All right, there's some more news that's just coming out here in the last couple of minutes when it comes to Bo Nix. Luka Evans of the Denver Post, who, oh, if you're a Broncos fan, you know Luka. Sean Payton likes to pick on Luka a little bit. But he's a good reporter, a very solid reporter. A couple things I want to run by you, Dante. All right, so first of all, again, this is in the last 5 minutes. Luka Evans is reporting, per source close to Broncos QB Bo Nix, Nix wanted to speak to reporters Wednesday in part to clear up the timetable for his ankle to heal 4 to 6 weeks and to make clear he had no chronic, quote, predisposed issues with the ankle. Luka goes on to say a source with knowledge of the situation told the Denver Post that in the course of Bo Nix's operation, doctors discovered pre-existing stress to the bone. That's what Sean Payton's predisposed marks referred to. Sources said a chronic issue was not discovered. Okay, so that clarifies kind of what the drive was speculating and what you and I have said, that Bo called this presser himself, and he called it for 2 reasons. Organization, reporters saying 3 to 4 months. Bo says, no, 4 to 6 weeks. And also this whole predisposed thing, and it was a matter of when, not if, and that ankle was just going to break at any moment. Bo's getting out in front of that too, saying, nope, not going to happen. Good reporting by Luka, and just sort of another layer to this of, you know, I think in this day and age, people say, why do these guys need the media? They all have Instagram, they all have Twitter. Why do they need the media? The media, still the best way to get your message out, and that's what Bo Nix wanted to do today.
Yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't you want to control the narrative, especially when it comes to your own health like this? So I fully back Bo in wanting to have his own thoughts on his own body, his own ankle, his own rehab process, all the above. So good for Bo to be able to use the media to his advantage.
Yeah, and Luka Evans, of course.
Evan.
Sean Payton confusing his name. And then this one a couple weeks ago got a lot of headlines.
Like, what do you know about attacking downhill in the run game? You don't know. All right, that's right.
That's right. Oh, good stuff. All right, what about Greg Penner? He met with the media today and got asked about Bo Nix's ankle, because Bo Nix's ankle is the most important ankle in Denver, Colorado right now. And here's what the CEO and owner had to say about his concern level moving forward with Bo Nix.
Not zero concern. His surgery was a straightforward surgery, went very well. Absolutely no issues there or concerns going forward. I thought he had a second-year quarterback, fantastic season. He won 15 games for us. showed his mettle in the fourth quarter, a lot of times bringing us back. So he would say the same thing. He's it's only his second year in the league, and he's got room to grow. And fortunately, Bo has a terrific approach of studying, working. He loves the game, and so I look forward to watching his continued improvement over the coming years.
Straightforward surgery, zero concern from Greg Penner. Oh, how much drama could have been avoided if Sean Payton had just said something similar yesterday. But look, if the CEO and the guy who writes the checks has zero concern, that actually makes me feel better as a Broncos fan, right? With Greg Penner saying zero concern, some people may argue, oh, that's just lip service or whatever. But at the same time, he could have said, well, we're going to monitor the situation. We're going to see how his rehab goes. I didn't think that was BS from Greg Penner today. I thought that was genuine, that he's actually not concerned about this. It was surgery. It happened. He broke a bone, and we are ready to move forward with Bo Nix as our franchise QB.
I don't know if it was not BS. I think at some point he is trying to calm the tension in the room and reassure his quarterback. And Greg Penner is the head of the Broncos, the face of the Broncos. So I think a little bit could be attributed to, hey, nothing to see here. We're all good.
Yeah, but I think Greg's a pretty straight shooter, right? And I think Greg could have said, guys, I know as much as you do. This is concerning.
But then that would cause headlines in itself. And I'm sure Greg Penner knows, hey, I'm not trying to create a story here.
Yeah, I'll let my head coach create stories.
Exactly.
But, again, how much concern do you have, Greg?
Not zero concern.
Zero concern. That, as a Broncos fan, does make me feel better.
What's he supposed to say? Oh, I'm very concerned?
I'm just saying. He could have easily said, we're going to have to monitor this. This is this guy's third ankle surgery in the last 5-6 years. Yeah, we're going to have to figure out how we navigate this. He didn't say that. He said zero concern, clean break, clean surgery, all good.
I think he's trying to be the cool head in the room and just lower everybody's maybe concernometer that is paying attention to Bo Nix and paying attention to the Broncos. I think he's more trying to just smooth things out over there.
All right, how about this answer from Greg Penner? In fact, it was actually his opening statement. I wrote about this at DenverSports.com. He was disappointed, just like the rest of us.
Obviously, the result on Sunday was disappointing. Not what we were expecting, but and the finality of it is tough. This is our fourth season, going out in the playoffs, and it hits you pretty hard. That being said, I thought it was a pretty unforgettable season that we'll look back on. There was a lot of successes, and Kerry and I and the rest of the ownership group couldn't be more proud of obviously each of the players, but also our coaching staff, Sean Payton, George Payton, what he's done with the front office, everything through the game day experience, our training room. Really a lot of hard work went into making this season what it was. I guess the other thing I'd say is to Broncos country, a huge thank you. I think you all saw it. We really reestablished a strong home field advantage this year, and our fans were just incredible. Main message is we're not satisfied. We know we have a lot of work to do. We've obviously made a lot of progress in the last 4 years, but we're going to work our tails off this off season and come in next year ready to go.
I love it. Not satisfied, obviously. There's a lot of owners who would make it this far and be content or think, wow, this is only my fourth year on the job and I made the AFC title game. I think Greg Penner's in this business to hoist Lombardies. I think they bought a team to hoist Lombardies. And I just love the message of it would have been easy for him to say, oh, we're on the right track and we're doing so many things right and we're taking all these great steps. And there was parts of that in there. But I also I got the vibe today, and I'm curious your thoughts. I got the vibe of genuine disappointment from the ownership group, which, considering where they started, Remember, they had to fire Nathaniel Hackett after 15 games to where they are now. An absolutely meteoric rise for the Walton Penner family ownership group. Broncos country got very, very lucky. That was who purchased the team from the Pat Bowlen Trust.
Yeah, it's funny that your first words after the quote were not satisfied. Those are the two words that I wrote down, not satisfied. That's what really stood out to me in Greg Penner's comments there. And I think it is genuine. I think you don't get to be as successful of a businessman as he is without having that itch of always wanting to be better. A lot of these successful athletes, successful businessmen, they're a little bit psycho. They got some psycho to them, and I think that falls into being in the AFC Championship game in your 4th year and still saying you're not satisfied. It's a little bit of some psycho in there, but I love it. As far as a team owner can go, that's what you want to hear, and that's why the Broncos fired a couple of their coaches, was because it just wasn't good enough, they thought, in certain areas, and they were going to make changes. So I love those comments from Greg Penner. Also, real quick we already kind of passed this, but I'm going to bring it up real quick again. Sure. The Bo Nix injury, and you mentioned Greg Penner, zero concern on Bo Nix's ankle there. The reason I also think there's a little bit of BS in there is Greg Penner doesn't have a medical degree, as far as I know. He's not Bo Nix. He's not walking around on that ankle. How is he supposed to know if there's any concern in the ankle?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because Mike says on the RamosLaw.com text line 303-713-1043, if the person who's a year away from giving Bo Nix a $300 million extension isn't worried, then why should we be worried? I think that's a great answer from Mike. Greg's the one who's ultimately got to cut the check. And yes, his actions will tell us, right, like if he's truly not concerned about the ankle, he'll write Bo the $300 million check. You know, obviously not all at once. It'll be a big signing bonus and it'll be a 5-6 year mega extension, whatever it is. But yeah, if Greg's truly not concerned, then this time next year, because that'll be Bo going into year 4, we probably will start to hear some chatter about an extension and all that. And obviously, Bo's got to stay healthy in 2026, or Greg's probably not going to cut the check. But I like Mike's text there that, you know, this is the guy who ultimately has to pay Bo. So if he's not concerned and he does pay Bo, then we know he's really not concerned.
And you beat me to the finish line there. My rebuttal was going to be, well, let's see what happens when it's time to pay Bo Nix. Because for now, it's just words. At some point, you're going to have to put dollars on a check in a contract extension, and then we'll truly know his feelings about Bo Nix's injuries.
All right, Greg Penner had a lot of good stuff at the podium today, including Denver's approach in the upcoming free agent period. You will hear more from the owner and CEO next.
The 2025 season came to a frustrating end. But the Broncos look like they're just getting started.
Just 2 years ago, you had people around the NFL saying the Broncos would be lucky to be able to field a team. And what did they do in those 2 years? They won 24 games, finished first, hosted the AFC Championship game, and lost a 3-point game with a backup quarterback.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing a lawyer, but getting some guy who just watches courtroom dramas.
How does the defendant plead?
Guilty. Wait, what? Also, objection.
You object to what?
Erroneous.
Counsel, approach the bench.
Hey, can I get a whack at the gavel?
You wouldn't settle for just any lawyer, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, I'm Michael from the Warren Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5 milligram, 1 milligram, and 2 milligrams.
Hey guys, your boy Stink here today by my long-term buddy Troy Hansford. And if you're thinking about selling your house for any reason, now might be the time to sell, still get top dollar. Believe it or not, my guy Troy is still offering his $5,000 guarantee. What is it, you ask? Well, if he can't sell your house at your price on your timeline that you agree upon beforehand, bam, going to cut you a check for $5,000. Who else makes the offer? Nobody I've ever heard of. And he makes that offer because he continues to spend a ton of money marketing his listings, has about 100 families approved and ready to buy right now. And if for any reason you need to sell right away, Troy can buy your house all cash and he can close in as little as 7 days. You have a house to sell, Troy probably has that perfect buyer for you right now, waiting for you to pick up the phone and to call him. Call Troy, get your home sold for the most money. That's 720-900-4433, 720-900-4433. Troy Hansford of RE/MAX Professionals, a Colorado licensed broker. Some restrictions do apply. You want to sell your house? Then call my buddy Troy, 720-900-4433.
Dan Jacobs with 303 Law 4040. Hey, I got a real cool story I wanted to share with you. Many years ago, my lovely wife Kimberly wrote down a prayer that said, God, make me a lighthouse so I can be a light to others when they're in a dark place. She filed that card away both in her heart and her prayer box. And then about 3 years ago, I asked my wife to leave her job in corporate America and come help me open up 303 Law 4040. And she absolutely loves it. She really feels like helping other people when they are hurting and don't know what to do is her calling. So here's the really cool part. A few weeks ago, a client came in to pick up a check and said to Kim, I really want to thank you. You were a lighthouse to me when I was in a dark place. It gave me chills when Kim told me that. If you've been hurt in an accident, it really is our honor to help you in your time of need. Call us anytime at 303 Law 4040, where you always get to speak directly with me or my lovely wife, Kimberly. That's 303 Law 4040. Go ahead, save that number in your phone. You never know when you're going to need it. It's 303 Law 4040.
Between groceries, travel, and higher prices, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're already relying on credit cards to cover the basics. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. If you're a homeowner, you might have considered reaching out to American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. That's why American Financing created the Smart Equity Loan, a simple, smart way to get your finances back on track without giving up your low mortgage rate. Unlike a HELOC, which can fluctuate with the market, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate, so you'll have one predictable monthly payment. It lets you use your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt, free up your cash flow, and still keep your existing mortgage intact. There are no upfront fees to find out how much you can save. Call 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at AmericanFinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
I wish I'd gotten treated for my erectile dysfunction sooner. Men, I hear this all the time from our patients. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if ED is a problem in your life, resolve to get it treated today and stop having it affect you and the one you love. ED is simply a medical condition, and it's fully treatable. And at the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, your ED will be a thing of the past. In fact, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and you'll likely find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. It's the new year. Resolve to get your ED treated and change your life. Call us at the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you. Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Stay up to date on the Broncos with our 9 News Broncos insider, Mike Kliss. Presented by Fitness Gallery. Hear the latest from every practice and every game every single week during football season. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
All right, really interesting day in Broncos country. Heard from Greg Penner, also heard from Bo Nix. Did a lot of deep dive into Bo Nix's clap back at Sean Payton, and Greg Penner talking about Bo Nix, but plenty of other things were covered down there at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit today as well. That new facility, almost done, $180 million. It's going to be awesome. Really hoping we get a tour of that thing when it's done. May take an entire day because it's so big, but sign me up for that day of work. Would love to go check out that new facility. Here was Greg Penner on what that will bring to the Broncos and maybe with free agents as well.
Probably the biggest thing is bringing people together in a little bit more concentrated environment, but also with enough space. So right now, because we've been space constrained, essentially we have 4 different buildings, 3 here, 1 at the stadium where we have people located. This is going to allow us to bring all those people into one location. But at the same time, we wanted to size it in a way that player travel and how they, manage their daily work was easy for them. So the whole first level will be player oriented, and that'll be tied into the field. The weight room, locker room will be much bigger. So it really, it's a building that's right-sized for our roster as it sits now, and the size of the organization. And we think we'll get a lot of benefit from having those people together in one place.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It's not just the players, right? They have a massive staff of people who work for the Broncos, and they're kind of all over town. And now they can all be consolidated in this one big, gorgeous building. And that was the answer about the facility. But what about the stadium? Obviously, the second half turned really ugly. Broncos and Patriots with a snowstorm that came in. I know it wasn't a ton of accumulation, but the time lapse of the field was crazy. I mean, it really was. I know there was folks in the press box who had to watch the game on TV because they couldn't see the field from the press box. So that brings up the $1 million question about the new stadium and a retractable roof. And would Greg Penner have closed that roof for the AFC title game?
So the new stadium plans are coming along. We're working through preliminary designs with architects. All of that is going well. As I mentioned, we're going through the process of conversations with the community to make sure we come up with the right structures. We're evaluating retractable roof options, and in this case, would we, you all saw the weather this year. It was fantastic. I mean, until the last game. And the NFL does have guidelines or rules around, the home team choosing what they're going to do with their roof and when they can open or close it. So we'd obviously comply with that. In this case, we would have likely closed it ahead of time, given both the temperature and the potential precipitation. That being said, who knows if that would have had any outcome on the game either way. This would have been more around just what was going to be good for the fans. So it was pretty rough.
Really interesting answer there, Dante. They would have closed the roof for the AFC title game. And you and I could do a whole nother hour on this topic because I know it's going to fire up the text line. It fires people up. But the debate, is football meant to be played in the elements and both teams have to play in it? Or is it going to look better on TV if that roof is closed and that snowstorm is just outside our window and doesn't impact the play on the field? I thought it was pretty revealing that Greg Penner said today he would have indeed closed the roof on Sunday if he had one.
See, I don't see that as interesting because I assumed that the roof would be closed if those were the conditions. I think we've actually gone.
Yeah, but you're an Arizona guy. I mean, there are people who bleed orange and blue who are like, nope. I don't want a damn roof.
Well, first
I
of all,
want my football played in the snow.
It wasn't even his decision. It wouldn't be his decision. I read into this because we had a text a couple days ago about it, and I decided to read into it for myself. The league gets to decide in playoff games.
Do they?
Yes. According to the internet and according to the texter.
Well, then here's the $1 million thing. Just don't build a roof, and then the league can no longer decide. But the problem is you give up Super Bowls, you give up Final Fours, you give up year-round concerts, all that stuff if you don't put a roof on your stadium.
Exactly, and we've gone around in circles about this before, about how I was saying if it's anything below, if the number starts with a 4, the roof is going to be closed. Anything below 50, that roof is closed no matter what.
That hurts my heart, man. That hurts my heart.
It's the modern-day NFL. They love their fans. They love those corporate sponsors and the corporate people that are all going to be in there, the wine and cheese crowd, if you will. They're going to appease to them, and they're going to close that thing up and get it nice and toasty in there.
I wish it could just be a case-by-case basis, honestly. Like when Peyton Manning was coming off neck surgery, the Raheem Moore game, I would have loved to play on a roof that day. If Bo Nix is playing last Sunday, I don't want a roof. I'd like to see it in the snow. I think the Broncos win that game in the snow with Bo Nix as their quarterback. So, I don't know, man. People are going to say, oh, it's just another indication society's gone soft or whatever, but closing the roof because of 2 inches of snow? Come on, what are we doing?
I'm with you. I like when it's open. I like when you get to see the snow on TV. I think it looks really cool. I don't like when it impacts the game on both sides. We didn't see any points really scored once it started snowing. Didn't love that aspect. But I feel like there's been games in the past where it's snowing and there's still points being scored. The ball's still being moved. This was just kind of a weird, specific situation with that.
All right, really interesting day. Appreciate everyone tuning in. For Dante, I'm Will. It's DST on the Fan.
Tune into The Rundown with Richie Carney every weekday at noon on YouTube, Facebook, or X. Presented in part by the Birdie Bar, Louisville's premier indoor golf